Welcome to the world of AliExpress stuff that are actually on Amazon. Yeah, this is one of the things that we can find on Amazon nowadays, or at least for quite a long time now. So we're looking into Amazon.com, where we have all kinds of different game boxes, and yeah, there are a lot of different versions out there. However, there's one particular one that looks like a Frankenstein model or an upgraded Android box that can play thousands of retro games, and that's the one we're going to be looking at today. Today we're going to be taking a close look at this model called the S905X4, but in the end, when it comes to the chip itself, they're using most of the time the same kind of chipset, resulting in overall emulation having some issues with some systems. But these things are capable of running all kinds of 8-bit, 16-bit, Atari, Commodore, all the old school stuff. But the weird thing is, they keep producing many of these models, and nowadays we can just find them on AliExpress and also finding one on Amazon. The biggest difference is that we do have different brands out there, so if you're picking one up on AliExpress or Amazon in this case, it's possible that it looks the same but just has a slightly different configuration or a different, let's say, name on it. So in here we're finding a USB hub, and these are really cheap. And with cheap I mean particular low quality. Then we're having the controller itself, and the controller is okay quality. They don't have any rumble function. They're like really the cheap models, and some of them are even smelling some little bit chemical when it comes to that. Yeah, I can tell you that these controllers, I normally don't really use them. If I'm going to be making a review, just testing them out, but in the end I'm not using them at all. I do wonder if you're going to be ordering another one from Amazon, is it going to be the same kind of configuration, because this is slightly different every single time. And also the question, do you get it from Amazon warehouses, or are they going to be sending you stuff from China? Because that also happens when I read through the comments. So, but then overall, when you're looking at this particular product, it looks like a very nice Frankenstein model. And yeah, the thing is, this is just an Android box with EmuElec on it that you can just download for free, and they added an additional fan. And I must say, I will give them some extra kudos for being creative at this point, because I was complaining in the beginning of these boxes when I was starting to review them that most of them were heating up, and that gave like a lot of different problems and ending up in having a broken system in the end. But if you're going to be comparing this with the first generation, let's say the S905, the M, the L, and all the other ones, the having the chipsets, or just the Super Console X, let's put it that way, we do have some minor upgrades. I mean, particularly when you're looking at newer version of EmuElec, we have of course active cooling now. We even have Sega Saturn, where this is a system that is a little bit of a hit or miss, and the same goes for PlayStation Portable and N64. So when it comes to that, we still do have a lot of limitations, but there are like a gazillion games you can play when it comes to this box. I want to focus mainly on, let's say, just the game time, because when you're looking at like, say, the Android features, I'm not the biggest fan of those, let's say, cheap Android boxes. I love these things for, like, say, emulation or EmuElec, but when you're going to be looking into some Android part itself, I don't really care about that. I would say if you want to have an Android box, just get yourself an NVIDIA Shield or something familiar with a little bit more power, and you can also watch some 4K on YouTube. However, let's focus on the games itself and see what you can do, because first of all, if you're going to be looking into the Panasonic Trio, there's going to be another system that's going to be a hit or miss. It's kind of cool because they implemented it now on the new version of EmuElec and these chipsets, but still you do have some limitations when it comes to gameplay itself. Because still it's a very, let's say, underpowered box for a lot of systems. I can hear some crackling noise in the audio, so it will struggle with most of the three-dimensional games. See, that's the thing what I'm having with these devices. It's like the overall performance when it comes to the gameplay is pretty damn good, but when you're looking, or basically said, like listening to the sound, for me that's absolutely a deal breaker to playing 3DO on this. Let's try this weird racing game. Oof. You can hear the audio have some struggles. Oh! Like Sega Saturn is this one of those like emulators are quite difficult to emulate on these cheap boxes. And this is not like the ultimate system that you can buy, Oh, I find this so confusing game. This is not my game. Like, the effects on the side are so annoying. It's like a very bad Wipeout clone. And I suck at this game. That's just a fact. Absolutely, yeah. But you can just hear the audio like stuttering all the freaking time. but you can still see that it runs not that great. Wow, I must say it's really awesome that it still has the vibration function. Alright. Oh.
A solid beginning may lead to a perfect ending. Go for it.
So far so good, no glitches whatsoever.
An aquatic adventure. Don't forget to take advantage of those subs. Let the battle begin. Go!
Alright, I can say like, it seems to be like this game is actually working on this. Don't say it too soon. Because this part is more demanding. Let's see. Alright, so next up, PlayStation Portable. And yeah, take consideration, games like God of War, don't even try like putting it on a box like this, because it doesn't even run at all. Like if you think about it, like an Nvidia Shield of almost like €250 have issues with it, so, or it runs now okay. But when you just want to have a casual game, they run way better than with the previous boxes. So still have an FPS counter, it dips down to 53, as you can see over here. But you can just see that it dips down, but an overall performance is not bad. The other downside to the PlayStation Portable is that we don't have this cool two-player function that we have with the Pandora's boxes. So I Dead Alive 2 on Sega Naomi, and holy crap, this thing runs not great. No, not really. In this video you did see me play most of the time with the Xbox 360 controller, and with a simple reason, because I just really hated those PlayStation fake controllers. They're like really bad and completely ruining the overall gaming experience. So let's do a peek at the inside. This is the configuration, what they actually did. So it's kind of funny, you can see this is just a piece of plastic with a sticker on it, nothing very fancy, and it's going to be different with different brands. So here we're having this tiny PCB is just laying around in here, just wiggling around, that is for powering on the fan itself. Just the way how they made it is kind of laughable and a little bit to cry with, because this is really bad. So yeah, I've been doing a little bit of a teardown, and the antenna is on top of the piece of plastic, so I need to be very careful. But the way how they configured this, it is interesting, but yeah, it looks really bad when it comes to that. You know, they just slapped on this piece of metal over here for cooling the chip down. So they're putting some effort in to make some cooling solutions in combination with an active fan, but if this is going to be surviving and gaming for a couple of years, I highly doubt that. So when it comes to this Super Console X, X3, X4, whatsoever, this is actually what you can expect from it. And I didn't even showcase N64, but there are a handful of games that are actually playable. Think about some like launch titles like Diddy Kong Racing. But beside that, this is a capable box of running more like the old school stuff. So I really don't like the configuration of this thing. For me, this Frankenstein model is absolutely my least favorite. Thank you all for watching. Consider subscribing, and it would be great to see you in the next video. And let me know in the comments what you think of this Frankenstein device.